Welcome, everyone. We are very pleased to welcome you today on this new webinar, the pre-launch webinar series hosted by ICF Professional Coaches at the occasion of International Coaching Week. So today we have a great webinar on artificial intelligence, friend of food for HR and coaching. And I'm very pleased to start introducing you our guest speakers of the day. And I will start with Guillaume Leboucher. Guillaume Leboucher is an entrepreneur in innovative information technology and has created several companies like Digital, OpenBridge, and OpenValue. Guillaume has been working in the field of artificial intelligence and data since 2012. He helps large French companies to accelerate their digital transformation and to become more competitive thanks to the adoption of AI and data. Guillaume is also interested in the new HR frameworks brought by these technological disruptions. Since September 2017, Guillaume Leboucher has launched the Artificial Intelligence for Schools Foundation, an association that aims to connect all the actors of artificial intelligence and educations, parents, teachers, university researchers, and allow them to perceive the changes of paradigm in the treatment of education. This foundation is housed as at the Institut of France and works with members of the Academy of Science in particular. Welcome with us, Guillaume. We also have today Alicia Hullinger. She's the Vice President of the newly formed ICF Thought Leadership Institute called TLI, where she leads the building of a global hub for knowledge for human development and coaching that empowers people to contribute to the United Nations Action Plan for Societal Well-being. As part of this work, TLI brings together transdisciplinary global thinkers to engage in authentic, open, emergent dialogue to explore the pressing issues of our time. TLI is building what will one day become the global digital library of human development and coaching. Welcome, Alicia. Let me introduce you as well to Déborah Braud. Déborah has a master's degree in HR obtained at CELSA. She worked for 20 plus years in this field, first at L'Oréal, and after a stint in HR consulting, she joined Pernod Ricard. And during these experiences, Déborah was both in generalist position as HRBP and HRD in international environments and in experts position, particularly in talent acquisition and learning. Welcome with us, Déborah. Now, let me introduce you today all co-facilitators and moderators for this call. And I will start, ladies first, with Catherine Tanneau, the chair of our ICF Professional Coaches Board. Catherine is an MCC Master Certified Coach by the ICF. She's an HEC professor, co-author as well of leadership book on situational intelligence and as well on a book on coaching for leaders. She's the founder of an ICF accredited coaching program. Welcome, Catherine. And welcome, Kevin. Kevin as well, who is a director on our ICF Professional Coaches Board. He is also a multi-award winning professional coach and business leader with an international career spanning over 30 years in corporate and multinational organizations. He's a mentor coach and professional certified coach credentialed with ICF, as well as an advocate and writer for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you all for being with us. And Catherine, I will leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Kathleen, for organizing this webinar. As a regional team, you are our support on the field for ICF Professional Coaches. So heartfelt thank you. A special thank you also to Guillaume, Déborah, and other French friends, because today is a French holiday. So thank you for being with us. Just a few opening remarks before we start with our panelists today. Why do we choose to organize a webinar on artificial intelligence and its impact on our HR profession and coaching profession today? The first reason is that Kevin and myself are both passionate about innovation and tech and how this may change our ways of working in the future. The second reason is that in the latest ICF Global Coaching Study, we have observed that more than 80% of the 22,000 plus respondents in the world mentioned that coaches will need to invest in technology and upskill themselves with the new technology to keep up to speed with their client needs and client requests. And the third, but not least, last but not least reason, it is that when I start discussing with Guillaume and Déborah and also Alicia about this kind of topic, I do realize that myself, as many people, we had a very vague idea about what it is exactly AI and data science. What does it mean in our future of work, and what can we expect from this? Many fears, many hope, and maybe a lot of doubts. So we hope that at the end of this webinar, after listening to Guillaume, Déborah, and Alicia, that you had a better understanding of what AI and data science might bring to our ways of working tomorrow and to our HR and coaching profession in the future. So let me start maybe with the first question for Guillaume about but what it is exactly. So Guillaume, if you can explain to our audience today, as is in the way as simple as you did with me, what is AI and what kind of general impact we can expect from AI. Thank you, Guillaume. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Isabelle, and very pleased to be with you today. And thank you for this question. And well, first of all, if I were to run a very quick poll with you, I'm sure that the result to this question would prove how AI is a still mystery for most of us. It is a fact that also nearly everyone is talking about AI today. Very few people really know what it is exactly. It has to do with the fact that AI is an umbrella word with encompasses very different kinds of expertise. Indeed, AI is referred to expert system, machine learning, computing vision, as well speech to text, neural networks, or deep learning, and more and more. And it also owes to the fact that AI is not a slowly evolving phenomenon. The development of artificial intelligence, AI, has experienced astounding and light speed growth over the past 20 years. There are numerous misconceptions about AI. AI algorithms are not the classic if and then. They are not the same as deterministic algorithms that follow a predetermined line of reasoning. On the contrary, AI is a programming technique used to solve complex problems by simulating the cognitive abilities of human beings, such as perception and reasoning. AI is synonym with unparalleled understanding and prediction AI, and AI can bring extraordinary improvement to your organization and profession. Let me share a quick story that illustrates these traits. The same story that Harvard academics are used to explain the world of data and AI. You will have and get a better idea. Once upon a time, not so long ago, in a Walmart supermarket, her father was doing his grocery with his family and he was letting his daughter decide which item they were buying. On their way out, he gave his email to the cashier. Nothing extraordinary yet. But 2 months later, he received an email from Walmart congratulating him for expecting a baby. And it would be an understatement to say that he was surprised. I know I would be shocked also. So much so, in fact, that he called up the store manager saying, "Sir, I think you made a mistake. I am not and I cannot be pregnant." The manager apologized, explaining how it was the algorithm based on big data and AI that has made a mistake. The point being that usually the people buying this item chosen by his daughter do get pregnant. So the algorithm and then figure out that he too must have become pregnant. But there is a twist to this story, and it does not end there. In fact, 1 month later, the father simply had to call back the store manager, and this time around, it was his turn to apologize. Because it turned out, his daughter was indeed pregnant. Hats down to AI for its clairvoyance. However, up until now, and contrary to urban legends, there is no super race who could think like a human being. It simply still does not exist. As you are probably aware, AI is often depicted as a major threat to humanity, but no, AI is not Frankenstein. Literature and the film frequently portray worlds where robots can develop both emotion and everything like that. AI is not working like that. True, Stephen Hawking and Elon Musk have issue warning, but like Julia, a French scientist, said, insists that the super development AI is far from happening. One reason that's up to know is there is no AI can approach the diversity and complexity of human cognitive skills. Yes, AI does have somewhat an advantage over the human brains. Yes, on every specific task, AI can something for outperform human performance, but in this case, we are talking about weak AI or specialized AI. I wanted to present you all the capability of AI, but it will take many time, but maybe at the end we can answer to specialized questions.
Thank you, Guillaume. So AI is not yet exactly the same as human brain. So the first good news of the day. So maybe we can move to the second part of the question. Kevin, you want to take the lead on this?
Terrific. Thank you, Catherine. Hi, everyone. As we all know, artificial intelligence is here right now, here with us today. We often hear that AI will replace humans, not only just in normal work that we do, but in a lot of data analytics work that people are doing today. But is it a friend or is it a foe? Let's explore this more by looking at how it will impact the future of work and the HR and coaching professions. So let's start with Alicia. How will AI impact the future of work and the coaching profession that we're all in here today?
Yes, thank you, Kevin, and thank you so much for the invitation, for being here. And I appreciate Guillaume's story because I think it really highlights the limitations of AI and also the potential of AI. And that's how I really think about AI and the future of work and where it's going. And so we all can see from, what is already unfolding with the global pandemic and how AI has accelerated just in this short period of time with heightened connectivity has increased significantly, right? We're all here and it's wonderful opportunity to be in this virtual space with people from all over the world. So there's this heightened connectivity that is already going on, which means lower transaction costs, right? So we also are seeing that with the shift towards a digital transformation, if you will. And so there's going to definitely be a lot of changes and shifts in jobs. We're going to see an increase in some sectors and a decrease in other sectors. So think about automation of manual and repetitive tasks. So jobs that are very manual and repetitive, that's something that those are jobs that AI can come in or automation can come in and transform. And AI and automation can really augment, as Guillaume it, was really getting at human decision making, right? Because of the speed and processing of AI, that can really help human decision making. So there's definitely going to be a lot of transformation in careers. Reskilling, upskilling is going to be important. We're going to see a shift in the quantity of jobs and the quality of jobs. And that's really, I think of the future is not inevitable, which means that we have control on what we want the future to look like. So think about the best case scenarios, if you will, and if we want more quality jobs, what does that look like, and how can we use AI to augment those type of jobs? So I think, I really see it. I see it from a hopeful perspective. I see it as a friend. And as long as we are asking questions of what the best possible future looks like and what are the worst possible options, so we know and have that awareness to take the steps that will help us lead us into the best possible future. So, and just one statistic, the World Economic Forum estimates that AI would actually create a net total of 97 million jobs in 2025. So just going to sprinkle some hope, hopefully, throughout this webinar today.
Wow, thank you, Alicia. That's fantastic. And that statistic is really heartwarming as well. So let's move on to Déborah. So HR, human resources, is really about people, and it's a people function. So what impact will AI have on the HR profession?
Thank you, Kevin. Happy to be with you today. And I'm quite fully aligned with what Alicia said. For me, it's really a friend for the HR function, and I would say it's rather a great opportunity for the HR function to become a true business leader and to be able to really advise much more quicker and much more efficiently the business leader in running the transformation. So I would say the first challenge for the HR function and the first, I would say, opportunity in that artificial intelligence is providing is to be at the forefront of the transformation. Concretely, what does it mean? As you said, Alicia, we know that a lot of jobs are becoming much more, are changing a lot quickly. So our role as HR is to really make sure that we envision the future capabilities of the company in order to be ready to run the transformation. And to do that, intelligence artificial is providing us a great opportunity to modelize where do we want to be in 3 to 5 years' time as a business company, which skills do we need to build the company future, and what is the gap, and how do we identify this gap as HR business leader, and how do we prepare our people to fill in this gap. So either through internal upskilling capabilities plan, or either by recruiting, attracting the relevant key talent outside in the market. And we know that the talent war is really something which is on the top of the CEO mindset, the top, let's say, key question. So this is first, I would say, the first opportunity that intelligence artificial is providing to HR. I would say the second one is really about the employee experience. Intelligence artificial is providing us as HR to build a true employee experience with chatbot, with platforms, in order to provide the relevant data in time, at the right place, at the right moment for our employees, in order to really to be at the service of the employee. So I would say this is really critical, and it will be a really great progress and I would say an accelerator for the HR function to become a true leader. And last, I would say that for us as HR, it's really an opportunity to become much more performant for the company. So it's a true challenge in terms of how to be a greater performance function for the company, because now we can use a lot of data. So the question is not about having, we are having a lot of data, millions of data. It's about reliability of the data and ability to use the data in the right way with the business. So we know that there is a great challenge here. For example, in my company, we've built a lot of new tools and digitization for the HR function. So now we have the tool, we have the data, So it's all about how to use it in the right way at the right moment to advise business leaders. And by doing so, we will be able to become a true partner as finance is with the business. So in order to really to build this trio with the CEO to run the transformation of the company.
Terrific. Thank you, Deborah. And you're so right. It is a real employee experience that we have to have a look at. So having all that data and being able to give it at the right time, at the right place, that's so important. Thank you so much. Catherine.
Yeah, so I'm happy to hear that artificial intelligence should be at the service of HR profession, worker of tomorrow, and also coaches. So maybe before going to the risk, maybe we can dig a bit into how artificial intelligence could be used. Maybe Guillaume, you can give us some example, concrete example. And maybe we can have an extended conversation on how can AI be used in the coaching profession. So Guillaume, you want to give us one example, one or two example of the usage of this data?
Yes. First of all, just to say, AI does not aim at replacing human people, but helping them and facilitating process. Secondly, if we see the past of the IT during 50 years, 40 years, IT was making with data for descripting events. Now with data, you can predict. And it is a prediction, the good key to understand. There are many fields that, like Déborah said, that you can do with data and AI. There are many algorithms. For example, for recruiting, there are many robots now. They're using algorithms they know exactly who you are, what you are doing, and what's your best ability. And for example, if you are use Google or Facebook, they can read your emotion during a meeting, for example.
Wow, that will lead us. Any other example of potential application? I see a question in the chat about how AI or data can streamline coaching process. Maybe we can come on that next. But Deborah or maybe Alicia, you have example of how AI will help. Deborah, you said that data entering in the field of HR will give them more power to be as business partner, as strategic partner, as finances. So can you comment a bit more how this will be happen or can be?
I would quote, maybe I would start with the two examples. The first example is about the personalization of a career, which is a true challenge for the HR function. So intelligence artificial will provide us the capabilities to build algorithms in order to generate key success factors on how do you build a career, how do you develop competencies that are critical for the future inside a company's culture. And based on all the examples of the careers of our people internally, we could build modelization. And this is a fantastic way also for the employee to become an owner of his own career, and not only to rely on the HR, but also to be inspired by all the models inside the company through the data. So I would say a personalization of the career is something that is critical. And the second example is about the listening strategy. We can see now what's happening on the engagement topic. It's really going very quick on this topic. And companies have the ability today to really run directly surveys all along the way in order to get feedback in vivo, I would say, and in order to adapt their policies and their approach. And so it's so amazing that it gives a full capability to react and to adapt to the demand of the employees. and to make sure that the change you are building is, and you can pilot the change in a much more efficient way.
Thank you.
Would that be possible to add something here?
Someone can put the microphone in mute. Yes, thank you. Alicia or Guillaume, any other example or maybe counter example, or what could be the enemy in AI? And then we will move to the risk with Kevin and ethic. I saw some question about ethics, so that will be the next topic after this one. So,
well, yes, I'm going to continue on the hopeful friend side here, Catherine. Maybe I'll change my mind and get to the faux piece, but I really see AI, automation, and analytics as an opportunity to deepen our humanity, if you will. And that's where I think coaching comes in, right? If we think about the core human abilities and meta skills that are going to be necessary as we shift towards this digital transformation, empathy, creativity, emotional intelligence, imagination, curiosity, open-mindedness. These are some of the core human abilities and meta skills that are going to be necessary as we change, transform. And so that's, I think, an opportunity for coaches to really help clients in these developing these core human abilities, right? And really opening up the awareness piece, and that just asking the coaching questions to help the client build their skills in that reflective awareness process. So I think AI and automation and analytics can really enhance the coaching process by just collecting lots of different data to help augment the coaching practice. So that's, again, another friend in my book.
I love, I'm an optimistic person, so I love when you talk about the friend part. But let's move maybe to the four. So Kevin, I'll let you raise the question on the four.
Thank you. So let's move on to ethics and risks, which is a big thing with artificial intelligence. So let's have a look at what are the main risks with AI and how can we overcome them? So the question to the panel is, the questions have been raised about privacy, security of data, especially if you're chatting with a chatbot, but also in the HR and consulting field, what about the humanity and empathy? How's that going to work? And we've also seen that some platforms are marketing the use of AI to match client to coaches. So if we extrapolate that a little further, could the coaching process actually be replaced by AI? So why don't we start with Déborah? What are your thoughts about the ethics, especially with all that data, that like the security of all of that?
I would say, and especially for the HR function, before we say coaching function, I would say that this transformation of intelligence artificial provide us as a HR professional to become much more closer to the people, to develop a deep knowledge of our talent inside the organization, and to reducing the workload, which is the administrative part and which is the more transactional one, to be able to be much more available for our people, our talent, in order to advise them, in order to coach them, even as an HR professional, and to use these skills, these empathic skills, listening skills, which are critical and which cannot be replaced by a chatbot or any other AI, artificial intelligence. So I would say this is an opportunity rather than a risk. If you reduce the administrative, if you run the automation of the processes, then it will really free up time for HR to be available for business leaders and for talents, for sure. Of course, there are many risks about confidentiality, providing privacy for our people, and not to be run by data only. This is indeed a major risk. We need to be aware of that. I would say this is the first mindset that we need to develop, and to use this tool as a tool and not to be led by this tool as a professional.
Terrific. Thank you. A very positive outlook, Deborah. Thank you. Maybe I might move on to Guillaume. What are your thoughts about the risks and potential ethical issues?
Yes, I'm sure that AI can bring many advantages, but AI presents many risks for society, even in your field in human resources. Addressing the impact and ethics of AI is great importance for society. It is also strategic. You have to know that the last month, the European Union has issued a proposal for regulation, laying down harmonized rules on AI. The proposal distinguishes 4 categories of AI, which is minimal risk, limited risk, high risk, and unacceptable risk. AI algorithms used in the recruitment process are considered by high risk by the European Commission. Accordingly, they must comply with the strict requirement to be placed on the market. For instance, risk assessments and traceability procedure will be implemented. Great attention will be paid of the quality of data, and effective human control shall be ensured. Regulation can really help, but it may not always be sufficient. A minimum of digital literacy is also necessary for human resource teams in general for all the population.
Terrific. Thank you, Guillaume. And why don't we close it out with Alicia in terms of the ethical component of AI? Do you see any potential challenges with ethics?
Yes, most definitely. And that's where our awareness piece comes in, right? And thinking about responsible AI and the principles of fairness, accountability, safety, transparency are going to be important. And it's really up to us up to humans to make sure that we are, incorporating those type of principles, using those type of principles to inform how we create AI and automation, and how we use analytics to maximize benefits, to manage the potential risks, and to really think about responsible AI for people and planet. So we just have to show up to the table with that awareness piece. And again, just the plug for coaching, that's where coaching comes in, is to deepen our awareness and to help clients deepen their awareness. So we can all come to the table together and create a responsible AI.
That's terrific. And awareness is so important, because awareness is a very human element, which is very difficult for a machine to actually replicate at this point in time. We're not saying it'll never happen, but it's something that's difficult to program in. And if we just remember basic computer science, right? A machine really is a moron. It only does what it's told. And who is telling the machine what to do? It's us as humans. So your awareness piece that you've just mentioned, Alicia, is just so critical, because right now it is us that is in control of all this technology. Thank you. I'm going to hand it over to Catherine for final wrap up.
Yeah, so maybe we have many questions about, would the coach of tomorrow, would the HR of tomorrow, would be the leader of tomorrow replaced by a robot, by a chatbot, by AI, super AI? I remember Guillaume saying that we have weak, medium, and high AI. So would it be replaced? That's one question. And the second, I would say that any advice you can give from your perspective about what to do to get prepared. We know that coaches need to prepare themselves to deal with the technology, to keep the mastery of the human side of the data, being human and dealing with humans. So what would be your advice for our coaches, leaders, HR who are listening to us? So first question, who wants to start? So the question was about would chatbot robot be replacing human in their activities such as HR, leaders, coaches, the biggest part of the human activity of these professions. Alicia, you want to start?
Sure. You know, again, I think it goes back to what do we want AI to do for us, right? And what, how can we use AI to augment the work, and what work do we want AI to do, and what work can't AI do? Again, that gets back to the meta skills that are going to be so important as we think about how AI can augment the work. And what an opportunity to think about the future of work, where we shift towards a more balanced life, if you will, where AI is doing some of the manual repetitive tasks, and that frees up our time to focus more on creativity or strategic planning and reflection, and these things that in such a fast-paced world we have really forgotten how to do these different creative, reflective, important work that is in some ways missing. So again, I just really see it as an opportunity to deepen our humanity, and it's really up to us as to pick and choose what we want AI to do and how we want it to augment the work.
I like the augmented, the work augmented, not substituted. I like it. Thank you. Guillaume, any insight on that? Robot, chatbot replacing humans?
No, I don't think that a robot and chatbot can replace a coach. I'm sure not. Like said Alicia, I think the good word is really augmented tools. AI must be seen as like these augmented tools, because AI is only data with a big data computing solution. And we have to understand that it's really a need of education. Maybe it will take 10 or 15 years to understand what's really AI is going to develop in the economy, and especially in your field. But it's a big mistake to say that AI is going to replace everybody. I fully disagree with all the case studies that we have that AI is going to replace many jobs. As we can see that in the big countries that they use AI, like United States or Germany, the new jobs are really increasing. So it's not easy to say that we will be replaced. And sometimes some people, they are talking about the fear, but we have to keep in mind, and with the vaccine now, that the technology is going very speed. But if we go in the good side, there's no problem for that. And I'm sure we will have good friends in coaching by AI.
So that's something very interesting for me, because it's my intuition that data collection can help coaching as it can help HR, as you mentioned before, Déborah, and you just mentioned Guillaume. It's only about data collection, so maybe it can help our coaching world to collect more data. More data about their clients, more data about their environment, and be better coach? Question mark. Déborah, about that, do you have any insight about robot being replacing human, or data being helping coaches to do better job?
No, as Guillaume, I'm also very convinced that AI will not replace HR, as we will always need HR to really shape the career future based on data, for sure. But as we have experimented many times in the past, is full of also surprise. Human beings are full of surprise, and it's also about the way you look at the people, and the way you dream for them, and the way you give them the dream of the future for them, that will help to shape it. So data and intelligence will not replace all this mystery, and we know that potential is predictive, so it will help to gather data in order to build and to identify the world of opportunities for a person or for a talent, for example, but it will not replace the surprise and the dream that we have for the people. So I think this is really something that is precious and that will augment, as you said, Alicia. I really like also this verb, because for me it's really and not a or, in order to décupler, how do you say it in English? Décupler, to really leverage, increase the power of HR and coaching.
Okay, thank you, Deborah. And to end this part and let the floor to some questions, maybe one advice for the coaches: how to get the advantage of using data. How can an advice for our coaches that are listening to us?
My opinion from the technology, it's difficult to learn how to become a data scientist. It's data scientist is a new job of the new century. But Andrew Ng, which is an American people, which was the first big data scientist of Google, say AI is a new energy. And to be general, I think we have to think that to collect data, to manage data, it's a way to improve in his personal job. So that's the key. And what I want to say also that I'm not working in your field, but I know very well the skills that you need to have to be a big coach. It's just to take time to understand what's happened in other industry. You know that every person that you have in responsibility is going to be changed by the data. So it's a key to have in mind.
Mm-hmm. We are at the beginning of an evolution. Thank you, Deborah. Advice for coaches?
I would say probably gathering more data in between coaching session would be key in order to get the most of the iterative experiences. So as a coach, probably there is a great opportunity to encourage your coachee to run experiences and to modelize it probably through data, and to use this data in order to make the session much more powerful.
Mm. Yeah, okay. So we need maybe to find a technological partner that will help us to build the right tools using the right data. As Guillaume said, it is to be invented. It's not yet preconceived AI that already done in our coaching world, even though we have some platforms that are doing that are trying to start with this. Alicia, advice for our coach?
I think you took it out of my mouth, Catherine. It's really more of, imagining what it is that coaches do want to use AI for. And I think, as Deborah mentioned, gathering more data in between sessions, for example, and how that can be used, and potentially an opportunity to work with more clients and reach more people if AI is really gathering some of the data in between sessions, and that could potentially help reach more people, or thinking about team coaching and working with AI when working with multiple people in a team setting, I think is also something that we can imagine. So it's just a matter of the education piece is going to be very important, right? And thinking about the lifelong learning that we have really signed up for in the coaching profession, and really, modeling the way in that lifelong learning, and learning about AI and how it can really transform the coaching profession in a positive way. And what does that look like? And I think you said it exactly, Catherine, which is finding some tech people who can really work with the profession of coaching to augment it.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Alicia. I like this message of hope at the end, and I'll handle to you, Kevin, for the conclusion remark before the questions.
Thank you. There really is a lot of positivity around AI, and there's a lot of opportunity as well. I've seen in the market where you can have apps that have been created by some of the coaches that do the follow-up. So holding the client accountable between sessions, as Alicia was talking about, in terms of reaching their goals. There are apps out there right now that are trying to investigate how to have a body of knowledge so that whenever a client may want to look up some data or look up some information or references, the artificial intelligence through the chatbot can provide all of that information between sessions so that there is a richer experience during the coaching session itself. However, a lot of coaches are sole practitioners. So it's not available at an economic rate for coaches to be able to develop all that technology. So the question for coaches now is, do you hold AI or technology as a friend, a foe, or frenemy? There are many platforms that are out there today. So there's an opportunity to go through and partner with those platforms because they've sunk the research and development in order to provide that platform and the tools for your clients to use as well. We're all living in a SaaS environment these days. So leveraging, which is a big tool and opportunity for coaches around the world, is to leverage the platforms and the R&D that is out there today. So there's more to come. This is by no means the end of the discussion. It's just scratching the surface for artificial intelligence, where there will be much more to come in the coming years. So with that, let's move on to some Q&A from our audience, which I'm sure Alicia and Kathleen have been able to summarize for us.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, thank you all. And yes, there are some questions in the chat box, and not sure who wants to answer them. So I'll throw a first one, is how AI deals with information confidentiality and privacy. Does anyone know exactly how that works? Maybe you, Guillaume?
It's a big subject to answer. What we can say about confidentiality of data and security is that there is no an easy answer, because when we're talking about AI, we are talking about all kind of data. For example, the data of your company, which the name is legal data, but also the data of Twitter or Facebook, also the data of your car. And it's very difficult to really understand and to really know if we can secure our own data. So the question, I think there is two or three approach. You have the Chinese approach, with they are taking all the data for everything for to manage a country. You have the American vision, and they said that data is good for all the business. And we can say Europe is taking another point of view with more ethic, and they try to have a focus on the origin of each data. So I have no direct advice to say how we can secure our own data, but I would say for the coaching, if you are working in Europe, for example, the GDPR is a good approach to understand what is the first stage of ethic in data, for example.
Thank you very much, Guillaume. I have a question which I think may be addressed to Déborah. Is how could HR work be integrated with AI properly, and what skills we as coaches should upskill working with them?
I understand the question is how can AI be
So how could
integrated
HR work be integrated with AI properly, or what skills should we need to upskill to work with them?
Okay, so for instance, in my company, we have created a department which is called the HR Digital Transformation, which is running all the building of the HR tools and system, gathering HR data from our employees. So it requires new competencies internally for HR, new capabilities. So concretely, we are recruiting a lot of new data master HR people with machine learning skills, very connected to IT skills, IT capabilities. And as Guillaume said, we are running this transformation, integrating the GDPR regulation, which is critical because now each of the employee has the right to ask, modify, and rectify their personal data. So it's really something which is a must-have, and this is new capabilities for HR indeed. So IT capabilities, system capabilities, and digital capabilities.
Thank you. Now, I have plenty of questions about what sorts of tools or apps or technology can we recommend for coaches to use and support in their profession. And thank you, Kevin.
Isabel, I put some piece of answer in this because it's quite technical about coaching apps and coaching platforms. They are on the rise, so it means that some of them are already on the market and some of them are just advertising their services. Others are still in a research phase, but I put a few there. I don't know them personally. I have experimented a few only a few. I know what I observe in the one I've experimented. One is from a Finnish woman called Coaching WireX. It is a platform that doesn't allow to match people, but allow to track data and notes in between the session, and allowed to track the objective put into the coaching process with respect to the result. But the point, that's interesting point, is that the woman that has created this platform with Nonna Bepisin, she's a Finnish MCC, and she knows either the technology and the coaching. So I think what is interesting that the platform allows to keep accountability in the hand of the client, not in the hand of the coach. The other are more matching platforms, and I would recommend that to test and learn. We are in the beginning of the adventure. Kevin, you wanted to maybe to add on the apps.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Kevin, do you want to add something onto that? Because I have, and I would love to share something before this end of the session, because we also had an EMEA task force that was led by 3 important chapters: ICF France, ICF United Kingdom, and ICF Germany, who have done a big survey on these coaching platforms. And the good news is that they will do a first preview of the results on May the 26th. The event is also posted on this, and I think Edith and Sarah are with us today. So Edith Coron and Sarah Thévenet from ICF France. So I'm actually just, I'm going to post the link to this event. It's a free event, and they will share the results of this survey that has been made with members from these 3 chapters, but also with all the global members who are open to answer surveys sent by ICF Global. So these data will definitely also help you understand a little bit more what is going on this coaching platform market. Well, actually, we're coming very close. So do we still have time for one very last question? Yeah. Okay. Well, there was one interesting question from Sarah coming, and she was asking, how do you reconcile the modelization of employees' career and free will of the employee with these AI things? So Déborah, would this be something you can help answer?
Sorry, I would say, first of all, each of the talent has different expectations toward their careers. So we need to take in account first the ambition of the person and the readiness to move to another career step. So our added value as an HR professional is to make sure that we can envision all the capability, the potentiality for the future for the talent, and to make sure that we empower the person to build his own career step based on his own ambition. So I would say this is the critical piece. So it's all about providing this vision of the future and then give him the choice to the talent to shape his own career step and to be empowered to do so. So very short answer.
Thank you very much. And Alina, I see that you're sending as well a challenging question linked to this one is, what about the Sophia robot, who in one interview affirmed that she is interested in understanding better happiness which is deeply human? Is that something someone could help answer for Alina? Déborah, you muted.
Sorry, could you repeat the question, Isabel, because I didn't get the beginning.
Okay, so well, Alina said that it's a challenging question linked to the one we just answered. What about the Sophia robot, who in one interview affirmed that she is interested in understanding better happiness which is deeply human, and HR, which is human. So what is the HR role between AI and humans?
The HR role is to make sure that the person is the talent is really at ease inside the organization, and that we provide as an organization the relevant conditions for personal growth and professional growth. I would say this is the definition of happiness: how to help the person to develop on both sides, personal and professional. We know that, and based on the experience through the COVID crisis, that well-being is a burning issue for companies today. So it's all about our responsibilities as HR to build these conditions of success for the person. So I would say it's a big question, and it's my way to answer. But I would say the learning from the COVID crisis is really the awareness at the top of the organization, especially among CEOs and executive leaders, that well-being is becoming a burning issue as a performance criteria, because it has a really deep impact on the performance of the company.
Thank you very much, Deborah, and I think it will be a lovely way to wrap up this session. So I really want to take this opportunity to thank you all for being with us today. This was the third webinar of the pre-launch ICW series powered by ICF Professional Coaches. ICW hasn't started yet. We are officially starting on Monday, May 17, which is in a couple of days from now. So if you wish to experience or attend any other events, we are hitting the bar today of 1,000 events in 24 languages available on our ICF-events.org platform. So feel free to share this with your peers, with your clients, spread the word of the impact and power of coaching through the world during this incredible week of celebration. Thank you all for being with us. Thank you so much, Deborah, Guillaume, and Alicia for being our guest speakers today. Thank you, Catherine and Kevin, for this great co-facilitation. And see you very soon at the next ICW event. Have a great evening, all of you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank